Yo, what up? It's your boy Drew, and I'm here with Benton.
What's happening?
What's good? This is Benton from NightmareDystopia.com. Full doomer.
Full motherfucking doomer.
Full doomer. And I made a little cover about Benton's little catchphrase that he says people are delusional and in denial about like the Dungeons and Dragons cover. And I like that you say that and you're able to boil it down to just a few words.
Well, I appreciate that. You saw I busted out my boy obscenity there on the Discord earlier.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, I love my people, but every once in a while, I'm just like, no, you're delusional and in denial.
Yeah, I like I like how people. Sorry, I was just gonna say like a quick story. I listened to some Sunday morning public access thing when I'm going to work, and it was some lady, some college professor, and she was just. I mean, long story short, it was just like all word salad. And I was like, man, like if you can't boil down your thoughts into like, as concise as possible, then in my opinion, you don't understand it. And that's why the last stream I did on the backup channel, like I was talking it through for a whole hour, and some guy came in. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name right now, but a guy came in and said, yeah, that conspiracies and all that is basically trying to manufacture mental illness. And I was like, that's it. That's what I was trying to say for an hour.
Yeah.
So to me, that just shows someone can truly understands what they're trying to talk about, the less words they need.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's something I struggle with is, a lot of times I go through these long-winded, explanations, when in reality, I should be able to be a lot more concise. And I don't know where that came from, the delusional and in denial, but I think it definitely communicates a lot of information. And I've been, very critical of the truth community, but I think it's important. I think it's kind of important for people to, be self-reflective and kind of understand, what they're putting out to the world versus just, we're perfect. We're the truth community. We know what's going on. And, everybody else, is sheeple or whatever.
Yeah, it's almost like a religion at this point. If you don't agree with any of the narratives of the conspiracy, then you're just you're a pedo defender or you're something like that,
Well, and the whole Trump thing where, what percentage of the truth community is, actually QAnon, MAGA types? It's got to be pretty significant, I would think. Yeah, I think it's probably pretty significant.
Legend calls it Karens with a Q.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what's the end result of all this? We see what's going on. And, I was truck driving and I've got a picture where I took a picture of my computer, in the cab. And my company back in late April, I guess early May, sent me a message saying it's over. Now that it's over, now the cops are out again. But what are we seeing now? It's coming back full force.
Yeah, that's something you hear a lot when people will say when it's over or something like that. Well, it's never going to be over ever.
Oh, and well, it will be over. It will be over, but by then we'll be on to the next.
Yeah, I think it's going to continue, in my opinion, because the people failed the test so badly that they can just do whatever they want at this point.
Yeah, and I want to say this, I had pneumonia about 2 weeks ago, and my breathing is still not back to normal. I'm still, when I'm talking, I'm still kind of getting winded just from talking. So, I believe that people are getting sick, and my mom's still in the hospital, by the way. But I'm not willing to say, okay, it's. And I just don't believe that. But, people are definitely getting sick. There's no doubt about that.
Well, people have always been getting sick.
Yeah. I had pneumonia about 12 years ago. I was sick as a dog for about a week, and then I was fine. Same thing with this. Now it is strange to me that I got sick in the summer. That part is unusual. This many people getting sick in the summer seems strange. And even my sister, who's become a health nut in the last few years, she also got sick, but she didn't get as sick as I did. But, the boozing definitely takes a toll on the immune system, by the way. Yeah, I'm generally pretty healthy, but this thing, it definitely put me down for a few days. But then, like I said, my mom's been in the hospital for 2 weeks, and I think she's going to recover eventually, but who knows? Right before she went in the hospital, she was real scared about, getting sick. She's so sick, she thinks she might get sick again. So now, and I've had numerous conversations with my mom about this stuff, but she might not, if she recovers and comes out of the hospital, she might not be willing to be around me because she might think I'm going to get her sick. I mean, that's how diabolical this thing is.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Jurassic had a story like that about his family too. I don't know if he caught that, but he said...
I haven't seen much Jurassic, but I did see that part. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so why did they blame his niece or whoever? I don't remember who it was. Why did they blame... that they went... Basically, the story was like his whole family went and got the... And it was... I'm not sure if I have it 100% right, but it's like a mom and dad and twins or something, twin adult girls that live in the house, and one of the girls didn't get it, and then so the whole household got sick after they got the, and they all blamed it on the one girl that didn't get the. Like, why would they? I don't understand why they would blame her instead of blaming the for not working.
Well, she's a heretic. She's not. Yeah, she's a heretic. That's it. It doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't have to make sense. Speaking of not making sense, man, I know you saw this earlier, but I want to play this clip of that lady getting booed off the stage. I'm going to play it, and then I want to hear your take on this.
And form a new country that should usher in a concept that the world has never seen or heard. Freedom. Ain't that right? Why don't you listen to what I have to say? Look. It's we the people who are empowered by our founding. Listen, I am running to be your next Secretary of State. I'm going to win the primary. Thank you very much.
So it's some rhino, I guess, and the quote on the Twitter says, "Shocking, sitting AZ senator booed off stage by her own party in home state. The government is scared. They should be. They've become a Zoom government because they're afraid of what real in-person democracy looks like. We the people are pissed AF." What do you think about that one, Ben?
Oh, I totally disagree. How many people were in that audience? That's got to be at least 1,000 people, right?
Yeah.
Man, just by myself, when I'm not recovering from a respiratory illness, I can boo as loud as the boos I've heard. I mean, just me by myself. Seriously, that was nothing. That was maybe 10 people out of 1,000 were booing. And then you had, there were some jeers and some people kind of, you know how it is. If you just start booing or you start jeering, there's always a few people who will just join in.
Yeah.
But most of those people just sat there. And, she was still able to be heard. And now I know it was kind of hard to hear what she was saying, but if she was shouted down, why didn't somebody come and just take over the microphone? She was still up there talking. But I'm supposed to think, look, that's at least, how many people is that? 500 people? No, that's like 1,000 people.
Maybe
that's 1,500 people.
Okay, but what about the guy's take on it that says, "Oh, the government's the globalists are shaking in their fucking boots"? Ooh.
Well, see, I've been hearing that for years because, I listen to Alex Jones every day for years, and that's what he always says. Oh, the globalists are panicking. It's like, no, they're not panicking. The system is not scared of us. That's ridiculous.
It's horrible.
And even if they were, what does that do for us?
Yeah, if they were scared. They're still going nonstop with the agenda.
Yeah. And, hypothetically, if some minion working for the New World Order was in a state of fear, what's the relevance of that? Like, how does that help? They're still serving evil, and evil is still on the march. But then I'm supposed to think, oh, look, people are pushing back. No, they're not. They're going along with it. I don't see any pushback. What do you think?
I don't see anything. Only people I see doing anything are the the leftists or Antifa, whatever you want to call them. Those are the only people I see taking any action at all. I don't see the right or anything. I don't see them doing one thing.
Yeah, me either. And that's what we were talking about on the Discord earlier, is this idea that the people who identify as right wingers or conservatives, it's like they've got too much to lose to, they don't want to risk getting arrested. They don't want to risk, getting in trouble or whatever. But it's like, why, what's the benefit? It's like they got to make sure that they keep their corporate job. They got to make sure they keep their house. They got to make sure they keep their car. But for what? So they can send their kids to the school, also known as the Government Indoctrination Center, so that leftists can program their children's brains. And now they're sending their kids off to school in a mask. And then these schools are starting to require, but then it's like, so people will agree with me. I'll meet these right wingers in my normal life, and I'll speak out. I shouldn't even say speak out. I'll bring up the mask thing, and they'll agree with me, but then they're like, oh, I've got kids. I'm like, oh, okay, well, you got kids. So I guess we just got to be a bunch of slaves then, because you've got kids. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't understand why anyone would be sending their kids to school at this point.
Oh, I couldn't do it. There's no way. I mean, I don't have any kids, but my parents at least were just ignorant. They didn't understand that they were sending me off to an indoctrination center. These people today in 2021 understand on some level that the administrators and the teachers are all leftists. They're basically 80% of them are leftist communists, and they still send their kids there. My parents, when they sent me to public school, they didn't have any idea about that. They just didn't know.
And what's crazy is there was a professor at one of these schools that was saying that college campuses are predominantly conservative. And do you remember that story? I'm going to see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, and that's just propaganda. That's just, I think enough people understand that, basically everybody that's a college professor is left-leaning. I'm not even a big fan of the whole left-right, Democrat, Republican thing, but it is something that people believe in. But yeah, so I think that's just an attempt to counter the rhetoric. Like, oh, you're saying that the universities are they're left-wing dominated. Well, no, actually they're right-wing dominated. So some portion of the population will just believe that.
Yeah, I wonder what that's about. It's because the person has a degree, supposedly, then he's going to tell you.
Oh, man. No, the best defense is a good offense. If you're attacking me and my only move is to try to defend against your attacks, no, fuck that. If you attack me, I'm going to attack you. So, there's this idea that, because we know for a fact that the administration and the professors are all leftist. So if one of the few attacks launched against those people is this, oh, well, the universities are leftist dominated, they're not going to defend themselves. They're just going to attack. That's what that is. Like, oh, you're telling me it's leftist dominated. Well, no, actually, it's right-wing dominated. And we've got to fix that, by the way. Problem, reaction, solution, right? So, yeah, not only is it not leftist dominated, it's actually racist and misogynist and anti-LGBT and anti-trans. That's what they're going to tell you.
And that's what I said earlier, too, though, as the only people making moves is the left. And they have been for years. And that's why we're at where we're at, where it basically is. I mean, I know you think it basically is full-blown communism at this point, right?
Oh, yeah. In my opinion, it's effectively communism. It just doesn't look that way on the surface. There's this idea that, we have I don't even want to say democracy, but, there's an idea that we have a constitution and, all of the things that America supposedly, is founded upon. But, when I see what's actually going on, to me, it comes back to Mussolini, in Italy, the fascist dictator of Italy. And I don't know if he wrote this stuff or not, but I talked about this on my podcast, that there's these writings attributed to Mussolini where he's basically talking about that fascism is the merger of the corporations and the government. And I think that's what we have in America. I think I think the corporations and the government are one entity. I don't think you can figure out, where does the CDC end and, where does begin. I can't delineate those things.
Yeah, I agree with that, because you see every single corporation is giving the hard push to their people to get the and everything like that. So in my opinion, they ought to be getting some kind of kickback from the government or something to toe that line, I would think. Or are people just that dumb that, like these corporate CEOs, that they would do that? I'm not sure. Either way, though, it's not good for the worker.
Well, but like what we've seen in the FDA is you'll have, somebody will start their career in the FDA and they will be having meetings with various corporations. And then what will happen is that person who was initially working for the FDA will triple their salary to go work for the big corporation that they previously were supposedly regulating. So, and I think you see that in all sectors where, these people start out in these government jobs, and then, if they rise to some sort of position of influence, they end up getting hired by Monsanto.
Yeah, EBT says the schools are all ran by the not nilk. Didn't you guys see the volleyball girls hugging? I can't go to free voice. I like to watch Matt every day, but I can't do the free voice because there's no option to speed it up. Like I can't watch it at 1x anymore. It's not enough.
Well, can't you download it and then play it in a media player and speed it up?
I mean, I guess, but that sounds like a lot of work. That's how lazy we are.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of work. I gotta press a button, wait 3 seconds, and then put it in a player and press one more button. But that's how spoiled we are, man. Like, I would rather just do something else rather than take the extra, 30 seconds. And that's why you'll never have any kind of platform that could ever compete against YouTube, because YouTube's just right there. Everything's in your feed, brought to you. I don't see how someone's gonna ever create another platform that would compete with that. All the platforms that try, they're fucking trash. BitChute's trash. I can't even upload half the time to BitChute. Doesn't even play half the time. That Odyssey, I keep hearing about it. I've never checked it out. This fucking D Live, it's not too bad, to be honest, but they have this weird lemon thing, and the interface looks horrible.
Oh yeah, it looks terrible.
Yeah, and it's been this way for a while. You would think they'd be upgrading to try to compete, but so I didn't see the girls volleyball reality breakdown. Did you see that one?
No, I missed that one somehow.
I didn't. Well, it was on the free voice, but the teaser to it is he said, "This is it, man. This is it, you guys. It's a wrap. It's all over. We're never coming back," because he watched the U.S. Olympic women's volleyball and they hugged after every point, whether they made the point or the other team made the point. That's what he said in the preview. I'm like, that's what made you realize it's a wrap, bro? It's been a year and a half of nonstop fucking shenanigans.
Yeah, what's that all about? I mean, I don't get it.
The women hugging?
No, him saying that. 'Cause it's like, dude, they've been doing that in the NBA for 30 years. When you miss a free throw, they still give you they still give you daps.
I don't know.
30.
I would like to hear
the last 30 years.
Say something about it, but I don't really know yet. Some of the things that he says at reality breakdowns is just wild to me. I'm completely fine with him saying whatever he wants to say. What's wild to me is the amount of clout these people give him for saying these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have seen a little bit of pushback in his comments, though, recently.
What's up to the chat, man? Nan Porter's in the house. Who else? EBT, Ancient Waves, Highly Suspects in the house, Distant Travel.
That's who we need to get on, is a Highly Suspect. I guarantee you he's got a lot to say about all this.
Oh, Shannon's in here. Linda Curtis. Highly Suspect, jump in the fucking chat. I want to hear what he says.
Oh, he'll break it down, I promise you.
Where's he Dark Glasses Woody?
Yeah, I don't know what we did, but he doesn't seem to be around as much. I don't know if we pissed him off or what happened.
Maybe he's just in the real world instead of online.
Yeah, that's probably true. He's in Australia, by the way. He's probably just.
Oh, he's in Australia. Then he's locked the fuck down. Then. Okay, he's
trying to keep his.
Here's one I wanted to show you, or did you see it? some Australian politician. Did you watch that one?
I don't. Man, there's so much going on. I don't even fucking know.
I want to. They ask him a question. I'll play just the first part of what he answers. The first words out of his mouth, he says, "Protecting our health is each person's responsibility." And then literally like the next sentence or maybe 2 sentences later, he's like, yeah, so we have to do this like to protect other people's health. I'm like, what? Like I literally listened to this guy talk about like this sentence. I listened to it like 5 times in a row and I could not understand what he was saying. And that goes back to how we started this conversation. As I was saying, there was a college professor or something just spewing some word salad. And I feel like that's what this guy is. It's like another language to me. Like I know the words he's saying, but there's zero comprehension from me of what he's saying because it's so wild. Let me just play this real quick.
Play it.
I'll play about 30 seconds.
The symptoms to look out for.
Well, we're all responsible for our own health. And when it comes to informed consent and giving consent to whatever treatment or procedure you may have or I may have, then I'm ultimately responsible for what people do in their health treatment to me. And
he said, we're all responsible for our own health. But then the next sentence, he says, I'm responsible for you. Let me play it again. I can't even remember the exact quote because it's so fucking weird.
And I'm ultimately responsible for what people do in their health treatment to me.
I'm ultimately responsible in what people do in their health treatment to me. What the fuck does that even mean?
Say it again.
He says, we're all responsible for our own health, but I'm ultimately responsible for your treatment of my health. I can't even say it because it's such nonsense. It's like, I literally can't understand it.
That means if you're 350 pounds and you eat McDonald's every day, then other people are still responsible for your health. That's what that means.
I just don't know how he can sit here and talk about that and then say, we're responsible for our own health. But then in the next breath, they say, you got to do it to protect everyone else.
Yes, but McDonald's is not going to close.
Yeah, exactly.
So my thing is, you might be able to convince me that I'm responsible for other people's health, but not when they're lined up in the McDonald's drive-thru. You're going to have to get rid of the McDonald's if you want me to accept the idea that I have to, behave in specific ways to keep people healthy. You can't have it both ways.
And
you cannot have a...
They
Sorry,
do.
go
No,
ahead.
keep going. I'm just saying they do have it both ways.
But this is what I'm saying is, the dirty little secret is that, look, man, let's be honest, a good 60 to 75% of all Americans are hooked on whatever chemicals is in the fast food, period. And, they'll believe, okay, there's this thing called and it might kill me, but then they're on their way to McDonald's to put the most unhealthy, I can't even call it food, brother. They're on their way to go get the most unhealthy thing that they can put in their mouth, but simultaneously believing there's this thing that's going to come kill them. Meanwhile, I'm a person who's drank way too much alcohol over the last year, but I still eat a pretty good diet, and I take nutritional supplements, and I got something that would have been classified, I'm convinced, and all I had to do was lay down for about 4 days, and I'm fine. But then if I ate McDonald's every day like these people do, and if I was obese like most of these people are, I'd be fucking dead, or I'd be in the ICU right now. That's where the connection isn't made. That they don't connect the two things. You can't have a country that cares about health and the number one restaurant is McDonald's. It's not possible. We don't care about our health. We don't care.
And I know it's propaganda, but when you see the reporter ask that guy the question that I just played, and then he says that, like, shouldn't the reporter be like, hold on, time the fuck out. Time the fuck out. You just said you just said we're responsible for our own health, and then in the next sentence you said we're responsible for everyone else's health. But I understand it's propaganda, but at the same time, like, why don't people? I mean, are people just so like lulled to sleep that kind of
no,
or
they're
they
addicts.
just don't care?
No, they're addicted to
Addicted to
McDonald's.
what? To McDonald's?
McDonald's. And they're addicted to McDonald's. They're addicted to Netflix. And they're addicted to social media. They're addicts, brother. It's a whole nation of junkies. That's what America is now. They're just tapping that vein all day long. That's all they do. Tapping the vein.
Just the dopamine and wherever they can get it.
All day, every day.
Got the guys hooked on porn, and you got the women hooked on the social media. Yeah, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it coming
Full
back,
doomer,
man.
baby.
Full doomer.
Full doomer.
When would you say, if you say we're acting in full communism already, when would you say was the color revolution? That would have already happened.
Oh, I don't know, but I was born in '75, and I don't think I've ever been free. I think they convinced me that I was free, but I think I was already a slave when I was born in '75. So I don't know I have no idea. But this idea that I'm a free person who gets to choose their own path in life, that's fucking nonsense, in my opinion. Nonsense.
But you hear it all the time. You hear these boomers say, "Oh, it's a free country."
Oh, is it? Hey, don't pay your fucking property tax and see how quick they take your house.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What? Free country? Oh yeah, it's a free country as long as you're willing to behave, in the way that the system wants you to behave. I'm just old enough that, when I was a kid, we had these ideas that, Russia, the USSR is evil, and they're the bad guy, and America is the good guy. So we have freedom, and they have communism, right? That was what we were taught, So, okay, we're good. America is awesome. We don't hurt people. We do everything right. But then look at the Soviet Union. They got their people. They can't. They go to the store and there's only one kind of bread or whatever, and you got them lined up, to try to get food. That's the propaganda that I grew up with. So,
do you see that coming here though? Do you see that coming here, like what you just said, bread lines and one type of food? I totally see that coming here.
Well, I think this is my opinion. Again, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I believe in freedom of speech. I want to hear what people have to say. I'm not here to try to say, okay, I think I'm right and I think you're wrong. I just have a viewpoint, and if people resonate with it, they resonate with it. If not, but I think China is in the near future is going to be the one world power. But I think you're still going to have a lot of military. You're still going to have a lot of military capability coming out of America, is what I think is going to happen. And then really, this is EBT's field, by the way. He knows way more about this than I do. So I'm kind of already over my skis talking about this stuff. But I think it's going to move more towards China as the power in the world. And then, but America's still going to be powerful militarily. But it's a third world country at this point, in my opinion. I think we're already there. America is a third world country. Now, China, they've had a lot of, a high poverty rate. The average person doesn't make a lot of money, but they're on the upswing as far as the financials go. Whereas what's going on in America, is America, are we really going to continue to move higher in our standard of living? 50 years from now, is the average American going to have a higher or lower standard of living than what we have today? That's what I would ask. But the average
I would
Chinese,
say lower, for sure, lower.
Yeah, but I think in 50 years, the average Chinese person will have a higher standard of living. So they're going to become America as far as people having purchasing power, people having education, and people being able to have a job. Now, the job obviously is going to be horrific, just a total nightmare, and they're going to be under government control. But guess what? They're already under government control. They are habituated to being controlled by the government. See, we're not. Now, I would argue that we are controlled by the government, but we don't believe we're controlled by the government, which is worse. So if I want to try to get people to join my way of thinking, step one is I have to try to convince you that, well, actually, you're not free. You're actually a slave to the government and the corporations. How long is that going to take for me to overcome your resistance to that idea?
Yeah,
Because
good luck
people
with that.
are, because people believe in MAGA, and they think, they're waving the flag, and they think, okay, well, Trump's coming back in 2 weeks, and he's going to fix everything.
Yep. And I've actually had that conversation with someone at work. I can't remember how it started, but it was this guy, and he said something about, I don't know what he was talking about. It was something about slavery. What, I don't even know, to be honest, how it started, but basically I think I started it, and I said, well, you're in slavery now. You're in wage slavery or something. And he was like, oh, you call this slavery? You're making $20 an hour or something like that. I'm like, yeah, but I can't opt out. I can't opt out. I can't. I mean, I could quit and I could go work somewhere for $10 an hour, but I want to ask them, like, because I'm at work, I'm not going to get into it, but like, how many dollars an hour is slavery? At what point does it become slavery? Is $5 slavery to this guy? That's what I want to know. And these people don't think of it that way, though. They just think, oh, you're free. Slaves picked cotton, so since you're not picking cotton, you're not a slave.
But what if they wanted to pick cotton? What if it's like me, I'm a truck driver. So what if I just like to drive a truck? Does that mean I'm not a slave? I mean, I can go back to being homeless. Like, what are my options here? I just happen to like my job. Good for me. But what if I hated it? What if I hated that the only job I can get that makes decent money is truck driving? What if I hated fucking truck driving? What if I hated picking cotton? And what if a slave loved picking cotton? Does that mean they're not a slave because they enjoy what they're doing?
I'd like to ask these people that. Unfortunately, you can't even talk about this shit at work.
Hey, real quick, can you invite Highly Suspect to the cringe?
Is he in the Discord?
He is in the Discord, or he was as of...
Yeah, let me see if I can do that.
7 minutes ago.
Let me see if I can
Or 9 minutes ago.
Okay, I just gave him the role he needs to get in there, so he should be able to just pop into that voice chat room without an invite, because you need a role to get in here. Linda Curtis says the U.S. made China what it is today by sending all the factories over there in the 80s. Yeah, and listen, I've been in the Discord, I've been talking to these guys about it, but lately I've been like going hard on these garage sales trying to find shit to flip. And I've recently found 2 garage sales of old ladies that had shit from all the way back to like the 30s. And I spent a long time going through all their shit. And it's unreal, the craftsmanship from the fucking 20s, 30s, 40s, even the 50s. But every generation, there's one small incremental step down, you can tell. And it's even good in the 60s. It's still good in the 70s. In the 80s, it's still decent. And I think in the 90s, that was the last time you're going to get any kind of good product. And then any of the newer shit, it's all disposable bullshit. And when you look back at the shit that's good and made to last and the craftsmanship, you can touch it and you can feel it. All that shit was made in USA. So when you look at the tag, it says made in the USA. And if it's before 95, it's good, man. I bought a matchbox from the 1933 World's Fair. This lady sold it to me. Fucking brass matchbox, all engraved and shit. So these motherfuckers used to walk around dressed to impress, high quality clothes. They had a fucking match brass box in their pocket. And nowadays you walk around with a plastic Bic lighter that'll last, that'll last a month. I have a matchbook from fucking 80 something years ago or whatever. I mean, what happened? I mean, obviously the war was a huge part of it.
Well, World War II.
Yeah. That seems like the turning point to me when I look back. I mean, there was already World War I and all kinds of fuckery already happened, but it seems like after World War II, it was just fucking over. People were so traumatized, I think they just wanted to sit home and just watch TV.
Yeah, I do think though that back then, to contrast this with what's going on with the immigration, because they're claiming, I don't know if this is true or not, but the mainstream media is claiming that like 1 million immigrants entered America in like 1 month over this summer. So I think back then you didn't really have a lot of immigration, so they had to the system had to get people to continue reproducing. And, supposedly, the men, whoever survived the war came back, and, the birth rate skyrocketed and all that. But I think a lot of that, what we refer to now as like Ozzie and Harriet, the nuclear family, I think a lot of that served the system by getting what was predominantly white people at the time to reproduce. But then you fast forward to 2021, and our standard of living is high enough now where people aren't really reproducing. So hey, let's bring in all these immigrants, which is not just about that, but it's definitely about, that's part of it for sure. Am I making sense?
Yeah, that's basically what you've been saying too the whole time. Is that's the even written, isn't it written down in like all the communist manifestos and everything, is basically to bring America down from the inside and basically make America the third world and bring up China, basically, or the East, I should say.
Yeah, well, I think there was a time where if you just went mono, America did pretty good compared to other countries. But I think what we're seeing now is that, if these fat, lazy Americans had to compete against people from other countries, I don't know how good we're going to do.
Well, do you think we're going to find out? Because I know you think the UN's coming.
Well, I'm not convinced of that. I think it's a strong possibility. And I definitely think that there's going to be another in the next few years. Highly Suspect has made it.
What's up, Highly Suspect?
Hey, what's up, guys? You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Man, I got you. You guys are real low right here on this. I can barely hear you. Anyways, man, appreciate y'all. Good chat today.
Yeah, what do you got some takes on communism, creeping communism?
Man, I think it's been in place for like 100 years almost. Like, we just are now waking up to it. I really do. Like maybe 100 years. Yeah, we're all born debt slaves, and now from what I see, man, I'm in like South Georgia, like 30 miles from Tallahassee. I'm not in the big cities anymore. I'm originally from St. Louis, but now I can see that trash spilling over in my lap down here. It's just, but it's real subtle, but if you're looking at it, you see it. I'm not sure what the big cities are like right now.
What do you think, in your opinion, was the end goal of all this communism? Or maybe it's not there yet, but
the total domination. But I really think like it's already here. Like they totally dominate everything. It feels like at some point throughout the day, I have a little bit of freedom to do this or that. But I think it's just a total domination, like that takeover, the scientific Marxism. But I already feel like it's been here. I'm just now like waking up to it in the past 5 years, seeing it.
Yeah, like you're saying, like Benton says, like we have the illusion of freedom.
Clearly, yeah, we do. Bro, I served in the Marine Corps for 4 years, 91 to 95. I was in Somalia and Mogadishu during the Black Hawk Down horse shit. All that shit that I came home to and seen on CNN never took place over there. And I know that firsthand. That's not just something I'm telling you. There were no Red Cross trucks. There was no relief, none of that shit. I came home, though, and seen shit on CNN, like Red Cross trucks on fire, children starving. I mean, there were people starving, clearly. There were piles of bodies everywhere. But all the shit they sold to the people or the sheeple and that we all bought, and I bought into it myself, that shit never took place. That El-Shabaab had a bunch of gold, I believe, and they wanted it, and we went and got it. And unfortunately, we lost, citizens, brothers, whatever you want to call them. That shit happened. I know that firsthand. That was in 93. I participated in that shit, but today, absolutely not. I won't have fucking nothing to do with it. It's disgusting, and, I feel like garbage forever, buying into it, but that was just the beliefs I had back then. Today, I live in like a small town with like 13,000 people, but I know here just at work, like 80% people are at work. I work for a food distributor. They make peanut butter. I'm an electrician out there, but I do know that like 3 men I work with, I saw a list in the HR office, 3 guys I work with in the maintenance department. signed to get the, and got $50 for it. Then lied right to my face about it. But I heard they lied about getting it. But I did hear one man, when he first got it, tell everyone he got it and then turn around and lie. So I'm just baffled by all that shit.
He lied to you because he knows you're against it, or what?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I can't speak for the motherfucker, but I guess. What else would it be?
Yeah.
Well, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Where highly suspect lives, he's in MAGA country in a small town in Georgia, to where he works at this factory or like a food processing plant, and these people, they may tell you that they're anti, but then what he's saying is 80% of them have gotten the, presumably so that they can still be in good standing at their job, which I think kind of enforces a point I was trying to make earlier, on the Discord.
So the communism shit, isn't that basically that mind control shit where I just think, they brainwash these motherfuckers and they're clearly all involved in it, but still have a little bit of in a social setting, they don't want to be, put out of the herd, which clearly I'm not. I'm an individual in that herd, but they when I'm there, they play that, yeah, that's stupid. I ain't fucking with that shit. When I'd clearly seen, I was in the HR office and seen a clipboard with everyone's name on it who got it, who signed up for it and got $50 on their next check. There is a 98% chance you're gonna fucking live, right?
Yeah.
But you can't make sense to these fucking people. You just can't.
What do you guys? What do you guys? I want to hear what you guys think. Each one of you, what is the push of the? Do you? Because I personally don't really think there's or any of that bullshit in there, but I think it is fucking crazy. Like you said, they're giving people $50 and all the bribes. Do you guys think it's more like a physical thing in there, or do you think it's more of a symbolic bending of the knee?
Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, well, it can't be good for us. I mean, we know that. There's no way this thing's good for us.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So how bad is
why
it?
would they be paying people and bribing people to get something? I mean, if I really fucking believe that this shit was fucking real, I've had serious lung infections in the last 4 years and been hospitalized. Just got out of Tallahassee Memorial about 10 days ago with double pneumonia. Not one fucking person up there had that shit. I was on the ICU unit. It was 85-year-old people dying up there, in their 80s, old folks. Just, I'd see them go out in the bags and that, but there was no up there. It's not fucking, it don't exist. I don't know. Bend the fucking knee. We want to know who's on board and who ain't, I think. They're kind of separating us. That's what I believe. Just my opinion on that, but clearly, I don't think there's nothing good in that shit. I mean, why would they pay? If really, man, I'd be the first one in line if I believed this shit was real. Honestly, you wouldn't have to fucking ask me twice. I'd run for it. But I just don't see no fucking body dead.
I got something real quick, and I talked about this on my podcast. Is, fucking forgot the guy's name. The Nation of Islam guy. He said, when has this devil ever paid you to take a?
Right. I mean, clearly. So
just that's suspicious.
So are we? What? I know they're logging the shit in and putting data out or whatever the fuck they're doing, but why? Really, man, in my heart, man, if I believe there was something out there and I seen people falling over, and once again, I'm the only person I know in the last 4 years that's had a fucking lung infection. I tested 4 times for fucking but I had to in the hospital. They were testing me for that shit. All 4 of them were negative. I mean, the odds, and unfortunately, I don't know what the fuck was on them Q-tips either. They jammed in my fucking brain, but at the time it was new and fresh out there and shit. And for the first few weeks, I wasn't sure. I was like, what the fuck is this really happening? Maybe it's just the earth or the universe cleansing this fucking place, like a dog shaking fleas. But now clearly, no, it's us. They're fucking after, I believe. Not on some paranoid shit. I really believe that, man. I think they're after, you know, or whatever. I seen some shit on Crocos, the agenda, you know, they're after us. Now they want to test everyone. If you don't get, they're wanting to make workplaces institute this shit where, okay, you don't get, you got to come to work an hour early and get tested every day and pay for it.
Yeah, fuck
seriously.
That.
Yeah, that was on Crocos last night or this morning.
Benton was posting a link earlier about these football teams making the players wear yellow bracelets now too. So that's how they use the influencers to condition the public that this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, and look at your fellow man like some diseased, you know, pile of garbage flesh or something. Like, you know, we're literally like, I get looks all the time, even at the gas station. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Do I owe you money? Why are you looking at me? You're outside of your car, 30 feet away from me, putting gas in your vehicle with a mask on by yourself and going to get back in it. And I get looks like, okay, well, they're looking at me like some kind of diseased, you know, pile of garbage. You know, it just, why would you look at another human being that way?
Why would you? I agree with that, but then don't you see, maybe not you, but like in the truth community in general, the way then they look down on the people that do get the.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like it's just whatever they're doing, like sending out the herd or separating everyone, and it's taking place. Yeah, they are. And the truth community and Matt and his horse shit lately here for the last 3 or 4 months, I can't even watch him no more or listen to that shit. But yeah, it's like, I don't want to say propaganda, but they propagate bullshit, and the collective just buy into it, and then they're all vibrating on that frequency of fear, you know, the fear. And then when you're outside of that frequency, it's like they're either trying to draw you in or just get you further away from them. To me, that's my opinion on that.
I think they want to kill you.
I wish the fuck they'd try. I really do.
It's going to get there. I think secretly they want you to die. Join them or die. Maybe it'll come to that.
Yeah. Maybe in 5 years, I'm thinking. Like there's like a 5, you know, it seems like a 5-year deal. Like in the next 5 years, maybe, you know, they might segregate people and that ain't on the list, or make a list, a Schindler's List, or whatever the fuck they're doing. I agree with that. Yeah. You know, I can see they want me dead by the way they fucking look at me, you know? And I'm constantly like, well, maybe a year ago I was like, this is complete garbage. What the fuck? I can't believe this shit. And you slowly see the guys that I talk to at work. You could see them separating. There's like one guy I work with, super good guy, man. He's the only one I believe that would never do it, really. And I got to say this too. I'm not religious at all. Used to be, but he's a strong believing Christian. Like that kind of. That's kind of hard for me to get. Like all the Christians that I do know right now, you know, they're all supposed to be standing firm on the Lord and whatnot, but they're the first ones running to it, and they still can't go to church and worship their own God. You know, but they can go to fucking Walmart and buy liquor or whatever,
or McDonald's.
The straight path through the narrow gate.
Yeah, exactly. Right.